Welcome to 2019. May this year bring you many blessings, abundance, and so much love. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to your annual tarot card reading for 2019. This week, or this year, I should say, I will be using the Everyday Witch Tarot cards by Deborah Blake, which I do most of the time. But this time, I decided to pull a Celtic Cross, which is a more in-depth tarot card spread than what we do in our weekly reading. So, I've already pulled the cards because there are 10 cards in the deck. So, we'll get right into those in just a moment. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the general things that have been popping up for 2019. So, the messages that have been kind of flowing in the last, I guess, couple months, definitely couple weeks, have been a lot of 2019. I think is going to be a little bit of a relief. It's going to be a little bit different than what we've experienced in 2018. 2018 was very rough. There was a lot of challenges, a lot of blocks clearing, a lot of old stuff. So it wasn't the easiest year ever, but I think that 2019, and what I'm kind of getting is that 2019 things are going to move. So 2018 things did start to move a little bit. Before then, it kind of felt like nothing was moving and that we were all very stuck. But what's going to happen, I think, is that this movement that has begun in 2018 will continue into 2019. And you might find yourself a year from now looking back and saying, holy crap, this year was a whirlwind. So what I would recommend you do is pick a word, pick an intention for this year. You can even make it a sentence if you really want, something that you really want to work on. And it's different than a resolution. It's that you're directing the energy to flow with you so that you can get the absolute most out of your year. By doing this, you may be surprised by how much it actually helps by the end of the year. And so every year that I've picked a word, I've found by the end of the year that word has definitely manifested. So I highly recommend doing that. Another thing I think you should do for sure is write yourself a letter each and every year. Sit down on January 1st and write yourself a letter for the next year. And then read the letter 1 year later and look at how many things have come true. You can include whatever you want in the letter. Last year, I was going through a really emotional, tough time around this time, and I'm not in that space anymore. So I'm really excited to read my letter and see all of the transformations that I've made since then. So keep track of these things that happen to you in your life so that you can see how far you've grown, because sometimes in the day-to-day, it doesn't really seem like anything's changing or anything is moving. So if you can have those moments and those celebrations of yourself where you can look back on all that you've done, it can be really powerful and really meaningful. So I definitely encourage you to do that. The third thing I would encourage you to do to keep track of your life is to write things down that happen to you that are awesome, or that you have maybe overcome. Like you're like, I finally gave up pop for the last time. It's stuck. I haven't had a pop in a month. Write that down and put that in a nice, beautiful jar. And then on New Year's Eve, you can read it and you can read all of the wonderful things that you've accomplished or that you've done for the year before, or from the whole year. And so you'll find that maybe some years you'll have a really full jar, and other years you have a smaller jar that's just filled with bigger stuff. Like me this year. The year before, I think I had about 40 little pieces of paper in my jar because I was, I do it in batches. So 1 week, a lot of cool things would happen and I would be writing them down. And then sometimes I would forget. But this year, I probably have only about 5 pieces of paper in my jar. So haven't been too keen on it this year, but I have captured the big stuff. So keep that in mind as something, if that speaks to you, I highly recommend it. It's great for kids, so kids can look back and see all of the cool things that they've done, and also a great reminder for parents because life goes by in a flash, and sometimes you don't remember all of those wonderful things that they said to you or that they did. So it's a beautiful little thing to do for yourself. So the actual energy, going back to that whole space, it does feel different. It does feel like work still, but it does feel like it's more the work that we're excited about or that we feel we can actually do. So it's almost like we've cleared kind of the base, like the surface. And so now we can really get into the nice, deep rooted stuff. So I would even say if you do write yourself a letter this year, to maybe write some of the things that you're struggling with, blocks. Like if you have blocks in your life, or you have things that are barriers to you, or things that you don't necessarily love, write those down so that you can let them go and see how, if 1 year from today or tomorrow, that you've actually released it or not, or if it's something that you maybe need to get into. But you might be surprised in a year's time how much you're actually able to change and grow. So nature is really important. It's really important to create a really beautiful relationship with Mother Earth. So the earth can be so healing. It is remarkable. I had this like massive epiphany yesterday. I don't even remember why, but I was just thinking about it, and the earth is so healing. Like, have you ever gone for a walk in a beautiful park or in a forest, and have you ever walked out mad? It's a very healing space. It takes all of that, garbage, and kind of just takes it away, and we just kind of put it back into the earth. And being out in the sunshine, it makes people so happy, or being by a babbling brook, it's just magical. So really create a beautiful relationship with the earth. If you have the ability to create a garden for yourself, for you to give back and to nurture the earth in your own way, really make recycling and composting a priority. Treat the earth with respect. If you see garbage, pick it up, spend time out in nature. And if you find that you're falling apart, or if you just don't know what to do, you're just so stressed, I challenge you to go out into the world, into a beautiful space, even like a dog park or something, and just walk around and just breathe and acknowledge, or go hug some trees or something like that. So the earth is so healing, and it's so important for us to connect to her. So make sure that you are doing that, especially in 2019. And 2019 is a number of 3. When we use numerology, it reduces down to 3. And 3 is a number of ascended masters. So call upon your ascended masters to help you, to guide you, to assist you in whatever you need to bring in to the world. They will be surrounding us. Try not to get too caught up in the chaos of the world. If you can, shut off the news, and instead of going into fear, pray, send love instead, and try to change the subject, or try to influence others by acting out of love instead of fear. So it is a challenge yourself to be a more positive person. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable to be around negative people and be that positive person, but it's a time for us to move back into love, and it has to happen. And part of that is respecting and loving the earth, respecting and loving thy neighbor, and definitely respecting and loving yourself. So self-care, of course, is always important. And we have all of the assistance that we need here to help us, whether it's with our spiritual guides and teachers, or dearly departed loved ones, or even our own friends here on earth. So elicit people's help and know that you're worthy of love. And maybe those blocks that you're carrying in with you from 2018 are blocks that are preventing you from loving yourself. And if you want to do some work on yourself and you don't really know where to start, self-love is a lifelong process. But that's a beautiful place to start with your own healing journey, because blocks will come up along the way. But if you love yourself, you can get through anything. Yeah. We're going to get into the cards. There might be more messages to come, but they're really emphasizing the importance of stepping away from fear. So, the more of us who choose to not put our thoughts and attention and energy into the negativity, it will shift things in magnificent ways. We have so much power. We just have to realize it. So instead of going into fear about things, really try to come back to a place of love and send love instead, and just see what's the worst that can happen. Things might be totally amazing. So I really encourage you to test that out. Okay, so we'll get into it. So the first card we have is in regards to the basic situation. And so with the basic situation, we have the Four of Swords, which talks about rest. We have been requested, the angels have been asking us, or telling us, I should say, to rest, because rest is so important and we have not been resting. I feel like I do say this every single week, but I cannot stress the importance of this. And I think that it's a warning. And again, do not go into fear. But what happens when you get sick is you are forced to rest. And that's what happens is we push ourselves so hard when we're not resting. And then we actually are forced to rest. And that's like just how we as a society operate. You know, you can't take a sick day until you're sick. So people just are always acting in that way. But I would encourage you this year to do things a little bit differently when you can feel that you're maybe getting run down, or even better, even before that. Make sure that you're taking time for rest and cocooning and just being in your own space and your own energy, because you don't want to get to that space where you're forced to rest, because it will happen inevitably. And the more that you put it off will be the bigger the crash. So this beautiful underlying basic need, basic requirement, basic situation in 2019 is rest. Make sure that you are resting. It's not a time to push yourself too hard. There will be plenty of time for that. But if you're feeling tired, it's okay. Just take a day to binge watch your Netflix or read all of those books that you really want to read, or have naps. So resting is okay. I'm giving you the permission. And if you have young kids, you have to probably get creative about ways to rest, but maybe it's time to start teaching them those valuable self-love requirements of rest. And even if you can only rest for a couple minutes, or even if your rest looks a little bit different than how you want it to in your head, just having the intention that you're resting is good enough. Whew, okay, so what is crossing the situation is the Queen of Swords, which does make sense. So the Queen of Swords would be, because this is a general reading, of course, this could change. So this could be you, or this could be a woman in your life, an older, successful woman, or it could be just the basic energy that is affecting you. But this Queen of Swords is a very tough, smart, successful, determined woman. She's not super fluffy. So if this is you, it could be that you are preventing your own self from taking that rest. This could be a boss or a mentor of sorts that's maybe making you feel like you can't rest. But just keep your eyes open for all of that guilt that you have around resting, because that's a block from self-love. Because if you feel like you're resting, you'll feel like you're not doing anything. And if you're not doing anything, that might mean something like, I'm not worthy, or I'm not enough, or I'm not doing enough. So we want to clear that as well, so that you can enjoy rest, because that is a part of being a human being, even though we do live in this world where the Queen of Swords kind of rules a little bit, because she is always working. But she is also a queen, so she does know when to sit back and relax a little bit, even if her mind isn't resting. She's very mentally focused, so her mind will be high on overdrive. But just make sure that you're not allowing the Queen of Swords, whether it is an energy, whether it is a person, or whether it is yourself, to make excuses or to make challenges for you. Feminine guilt. I'm going to probably write a book about feminine guilt. It's such a real thing. Women just naturally have so much guilt, and I'm working on ways to help women clear all of that out. But be cognizant of that in yourself, because a lot of you not wanting to rest could be because of your feminine guilt, because you feel like you need to be doing this, and this, and this to feel like a successful, worthy woman. So resting isn't really a part of that, because women don't typically rest too much. But that's what you should be doing this year. And these challenges that will come up for you mentally when you do rest are just blocks. So it's just energy, and sending love to those people that maybe are having a hard time resting. If that is yourself, just try not to go into guilt about it, because you don't need to be guilty about not resting either. So just do what you can and know that just because you are human and sometimes you have to take a moment for yourself doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make you less of a mother or a wife or working businesswoman. It doesn't have to mean anything. It's just a simple, basic part of life. I'm sorry for harping on that, but it's very important. Okay, moving on. Your next is the conscious thoughts, which is Wheel of Fortune. So that's amazing. So the major arcana, like we've said, you don't have a whole lot of influence always when the major arcana is here, but this is a beautiful major arcana. And your conscious brain is telling you that you can have anything. You have the Wheel of Fortune at your disposal. All you have to do is decide what it is that you want. So this is on the conscious brain, which is very good, which means that our brains are very powerful, as you know. So this means that you can manifest way more stuff, many more situations, more success, maybe a love, maybe the perfect home, whatever it is. So you have the Wheel of Fortune at your disposal, and you are aware of that in your conscious brain, which is a very good sign. In our subconscious thoughts, we have the Ace of Pentacles, another positive card. Subconsciously, we're reprogramming. It almost seems like that piece is being, your subconscious mind is being reprogrammed to be more financially abundant. It's reprogramming your old belief systems, I think, this year around money and finances. So you're kind of going on a new adventure. Because this is a general reading, trust whatever messages you're getting. This could be that your subconscious mind is already working on a new job or a new career opportunity for you, but it's a new adventure in your physical world. So that's job security, money. Moving on. For the past influence, we have the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups, I think, is 2018. 2018 was a very emotional year. And we've already seen the Queen of Swords come up. So the Queen of Swords kind of represents 2019. So we can already see that this year might be a little bit different. So the Queen of Cups is emotional. She's that beautiful, mothering, nurturing energy. So that is what has influenced you in the past. So that could be a person, a very nurturing, motherly type of person. It could be yourself, or it could just be that universal influence pushing you. So this is all of the work that we've done in 2018, all of those emotions, all of the work, all of the block clearing, all of that stuff that you've dealt with in 2018. That is kind of a thing of the past, but it's definitely a piece in the puzzle. It's definitely like a stepping stone, and for some of you, it'll be like thing to look back on and say, I'm so grateful that I've done that, and that is so far in the past. For others, it might trickle in a little bit into 2019. Whatever it is for you, that's okay. Life is a journey. There is no right or wrong. So just enjoy however that comes to you with your newfound idea of your newfound sense of self. So by going through 2018, you've all grown, you've changed, you've overcome many obstacles and many emotions. So take all of those lessons and all of that love with you into 2019, so that when you look at the problems from the past that maybe have not yet been resolved, you are looking at it from a brand new lens. So for the future, we have Seven of Pentacles. I think this is going to be a really big year for career and job. So if you've been struggling in your job or career, this might be a really great year to make some moves. And I know with job especially, there has not been much movement. I think from like 2016, definitely 2017, and like half of 2018, things were not moving, but now things are moving. So it might be time for you to find a new job. Maybe that perfect opportunity will finally present itself to you, whether it is starting a business or changing a career or just changing a job. So this year should be very interesting, and I would put that in the letter that you write to yourself. Talk about how you feel about your job and what you would like your new job to look like, and see a year from now what your job is and if that's changed at all. So the Seven of Pentacles talks about abundance. As simple as that. The Seven of Pentacles is a very peaceful, wonderful card. It talks about being peaceful in your finances, knowing what you need, not taking more than what you need, enjoying life, really. So that's a beautiful card. The Seven of Pentacles is a great card. So enjoy your finances this year. Allow that subconscious reprogramming of your finances to happen so you're able to step into any new opportunity with confidence and love and happiness. Sorry, just energy. Okay, so how others see you is the Fool. This doesn't mean that people think that you're a fool. It just means that people see you as this person who's about to take a leap off of a cliff, but she has all of her support that she needs here. She's got her broom, she's got her happiness, she's confident in what she's doing, and she's just going to take the leap. So other people are going to look up to you and applaud you. So some of you are going to take a really big leap this year. It could be, it's mostly in regards to job or business or career, but for some, it's actually stepping out of a relationship, which people didn't really expect you to do, but you've been thinking about it, and you finally just got all your ducks in a row, and you're just going to take the leap, and just people will think, what the hell are you doing? And you'll just know that you have to take the leap, and that whatever's down there, like if she's going to that ship, whoever's in that ship is worth taking the leap for. So other people will see you as this person who's just on this brand new adventure, a dreamer type, the type who's going to just take a leap of faith, which is very cool. That's a good way to be. Okay, so what the universe is sending us is the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is a card about depression. But what this card is really in this situation, you see the sun rising. This is how you might feel. But what the universe is bringing to you is the sun, is the peace, is the hope. What we, as human beings, we grow so much more when we are in an uncomfortable situation. You grow fast and you make lasting change when you're pushed to the limits. So it could be that you are already going through a really tough time, and that this year the universe is bringing you that support. And there are beautiful things that do come out of that space. So it could just be that perhaps you make really amazing friendships with people who are also struggling, and you just had to struggle a little bit to meet those people. It could be that maybe instead of falling into this piece of depression that you typically go through every year or every once in a while, that instead the universe brings you something else instead, or it brings you the same emotion, but because of everything that you've been through, you know, as the Queen of Cups in 2018, you now approach this sadness or this situation a little bit differently. And so this is kind of this beautiful lesson that the universe is bringing you. This doesn't mean that you're going to get depressed this year and be really sad, or that something bad is going to happen. This is a general reading. This means that the universe will bring you things in unexpected ways, will bring you unexpected blessings in ways that perhaps you didn't expect. And it doesn't necessarily have to be depression or sadness. It could be simply something completely different than what you expected. And it could be a great thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go through a hard time, but if it does mean that for you at a certain point, look at all of the ways that you've already grown and ask yourself that the times before that I felt this way, how did I react and how did I approach it and what did I get from it? And how can I adjust that to serve myself in an even greater way? How can I love myself more through this hard time? Because those are the real tests, and your life is always up and down. So how are you going to combat those human problems if not from a place of love? Okay. All right. We have your greatest hope or fear. So 5 of Wands. So this is a double-edged wand, we'll say. So the 5 of Wands talks about community. but it also talks about argument. So the universe is sending you, for some, community, your tribe, but for others, or sorry, your greatest hopes or fears. So the universe does bring you a community of people. So your greatest, for some, because this is a general reading, for some, this will be your hopes are finding your tribe, finding your community. That is what the universe will bring you this year. The fear part of it, though, is that those people are going to still be the wrong people. So again, take yourself away from the fear and move yourself into a place of love. If you meet a bunch of people and they're great and they're fun, but you have a little bit of suspicion about them, or they don't always feel the greatest when you're around them, or maybe you just don't even actually want to hang out with them at all anymore, trust that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're saying no to this beautiful group of friends that the universe has sent to you. It could just be that maybe they aren't your tribe and you just have to keep yourself open, and send them love and don't judge them, but you don't have to spend as much time with them if they're not your favorite people. If being around them hurts you, you don't have to do it. On the other hand, though, if it is that you have found an amazing group of people to hang out with, and they're challenging you and making you feel like you want to react because they're maybe picking some wounds, go into that and see if it's actually serving your highest and greatest good to be around people who are challenging you, or if they're actually just challenging you in a malicious way. Like, is it you reacting poorly because there's a wound inside of you, or is it that you're actually being treated badly? So the fears and the hopes are wrapped up kind of in one. And your greatest hope is that you will find your people. Of course it is. But don't be too heartbroken if they start fighting or if the group actually turns out not to be. That just means that there's a greater friend group around the corner, or it just means that there's some more healing for you to do on the inside so that those people don't affect you as much anymore. But regardless of how these things come up, they're beautiful lessons, and people are our greatest teachers. They show us our mirrors. Like they are our mirrors. They show us our wounds, they show us our best qualities and our worst qualities. And so without them, those parts of us that need healing can stay hidden a little bit longer. So it's a great thing to be around people who sometimes push your buttons, because you find out the most things about yourself when you're with those kinds of people. So just because you haven't met your soulmates yet does not mean that you won't ever. They are coming. And this is another thing too. They say, like, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but with the law of attraction, hubbub, all of that stuff out there are posts that say, if you want to find your greatest love, why not create those aspects of yourself so that you can attract that perfect mate? It's the same thing for friendships and relationships, business partnerships, everything. If there are aspects of relationship that you want, bring that into your own self first. Work on that quality in your own friendships that you currently have, and see if your current friendships step up to that level, or if they just naturally fall away. So it doesn't have to stop with just romantic relationships. Improve yourself so that you can attract the right friendships as well. The Coven. They're kind of saying the Coven. So it is a really close-knit friend group. And doesn't always have to look how exactly you want it to look like. Maybe it's like a band of misfits with a bunch of people who don't typically roll together, but somehow they can get through this fighting and become best friends. So just be cognizant of that. There is conflict here, which is a greatest fear. So if that is something that you're afraid of, conflict, I would go into that as well, and heal that aspect of yourself. So the key outcome, this is it. This is the money right here, is the Chariot. So the Chariot is about choices and forward movement, which is really cool because, like we've said, hasn't been a whole lot of forward movement in the last little while. So having this card saying that we have some forward movement is very exciting. All you have to do is decide which way you want to go. And if there's a way to do both, maybe there's a way that you can make both both horses go in the same direction instead of two different directions. So sometimes you have to choose, but sometimes you don't, and you can bring them together in a more beautiful, loving manner. So sometimes it's about choice and sometimes it's about alchemy. Sometimes it's about combining and creating an environment where they both two opposites or both two headstrong aspects want to actually start going in the same direction that you didn't think they could actually go in. But sometimes it is time to decide, it's either time to go this way or that way. And if you end up going that way and you want it to go this way, you can always change your mind, but just make the decision before the decision is made for you. So I hope that 2019 is the best year you have had yet. I encourage you to write yourself letters and to keep track of all of the wonderful things that have happened to you over the next year. And I just am sending you so much love. I hope this year is fantastic. If you would like a private reading with me, feel free to email me at thejourneytospirit@gmail.com. And if you haven't already, come by katiehunt.ca to subscribe for your chance to win a free Reiki session, but also to be connected with all of the special offers and insights and discounts that I offer only through my email list. If you're watching me on YouTube, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I so do appreciate it, and I will see you soon.